All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon once again. All right. So we have a few persons trickling in. Some persons sending me some DMs and some persons viewing us on Facebook. But welcome, welcome, welcome. And we want to get going because we don't want to keep our participants waiting. And this will be made available via Facebook on our Facebook page, Special Needs JA. So you can always watch live right now, or you can watch afterwards when the video is finished streaming. All right, so let us jump right into it. I have some wonderful guests here today to share with you all. And for persons who know me, I don't delve into introductions, long introductions, but these persons who will be sharing with us today, they have a wealth of knowledge and they have been in the special education field for quite some time, right? And when I say sometime, I don't mean a week ago, 5 minutes, but years of experience in the special education arena. So we have with us author and educator Emily Brown. We have special educator Jacqueline Archibald and student at the Michael University College. And we also have Tracy and Barkley, who is an occupational therapist who presently is working in New York City, Queens, right? But she is Jamaican at heart. And you will hear when she speaks even later on. Um, yes, so we want to jump right into it. Okay. Now, I had a discussion with the participants earlier, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to have Emily Brown first, and she's going to share with us um, for our seminar. She's going to get things started for us. Miss Brown, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready to get started.
All right, fantastic, fantastic. Now, feel free, presenters, feel free to share with us. Even in addition, you can share with us your experience so that the participants have an idea. And also, if you are willing to share your information later on, you can let me know so that persons can reach out to you because of course you are in the field and they can get assistance from you with your practices. All right, so let us jump to Emily Brown. And please use the nonverbal emojis, hand claps, all of that. We're all for it.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Emily Brown. I've been a teacher for quite some time. I can't even remember when I started teaching. I think it was when I was still in university. I was a part-time teacher. At preschools, I was teaching Spanish, and my Bachelor of Arts degree is in Spanish. And I have taught at preschools, prep schools, high schools, and also in inclusive environments. So I've interacted with children with a variety of special needs whilst teaching them Spanish. And also, I am currently teaching Spanish and English in a bilingual pod online at the preschool level. And what I have to share with you today is tips that parents can apply at home that I use to maintain control in a classroom. So it's really classroom control tips for parents. So I'm going to open up my I'm going to open up my presentation for you right here. And here we go. So just to jump right into it and give you an overview of what this presentation is going to entail is these 7 points. And each point will have other bullet points underneath it as well. But this is the main gist of the advice that I'm going to give you today. And some of these tips are answering the questions that you had sent to Joan. And I'll indicate what the question is and show you the different tools and techniques, the strategies that you can use to help you to have a nice, peaceful time with your students, with your children at home. All right, so let's jump right into it. All right, so the first thing I'm going to recommend that you do is teach your children the Word of God. If you do not know the Word of God, or maybe you're not a Christian or anything like that yet, you can use the Abeka system alphabet cards. It gives you a verse for each letter of the alphabet, and each verse starts with that letter. So C would be children obey your parents in the Lord. Now, why I say to do this is because it gives your child something else to be accountable to outside of you, because they know how to push your buttons, and they really know how to make you fly off the handle. They do. And I'm not going to pretty it up, because it's lots of parents on this call listening in, lots of aunties, lots of uncles, and lots of older siblings and teachers all understand that children can really grind your beans. So when you have something for them to be accountable to outside of you, it kind of takes the pressure off of you and gets them thinking, I really need to adjust my behavior. So the verse for letter C is children obey your parents in the Lord. The verse for letter B is be ye kind one to another. Now, when a sibling is being unkind to whoever else, and they're being disobedient to their parent, you can say, hey, remember our Bible verse for last week was be kind one to another? God wants us to be kind to one another. And they'll go, okay. And then they'll adjust their behavior. So that takes the pressure off of you and helps your child to practice to be accountable to you, yes, to their neighbors, to their family members, yes, and also to God. And it helps when you're not around for them to know that they still need to adjust and mitigate their own behavior. So that's my first tip, is teach your children the word of God. The second one I'd say is to learn their love language. Now, this concept comes from the book called The 5 Love Languages by Dr. Gary Chapman. It was published quite some time ago, so you can find secondhand copies of this book online, or first-hand copies at very affordable prices. Okay, I think it was also available on the Logos bookship at a point, so it's accessible to lots of people. It's not out of reach. You can get copies of this. You can also go to the 5lovelanguages.com and just read about it if you're not able to buy the book for whatever reason. Now, why I say to learn their love language is because this helps your child to feel and receive and know that their parents love them. Their parents really do care about them. And once they have that knowing, they're going to be more willing to cooperate with you. Okay? And there are different ways to express love, and they're listed here on the screen, numbers 1 to 5. Words of affirmation, physical touch, quality time, acts of service, and gifts. Now, it's kind of hard to tell what a child's love language is, depending on their age, but at some point it becomes obvious what their main love language is going to be. But everybody can receive love from all 5 of these, but they will get to receive love more from a particular one. Okay, so you can show them all. And so I recommend that you get that book or go to the website and learn more about it and start practicing it as soon as possible. Now, here was one of the questions you had asked. What strategies can you suggest for parents who have little to no support? And this is a big theme now because most people are at home and doing everything from the housework to the homework help and being an employee. Now, the first thing that I would recommend to somebody who is overworked and stretched to the max is to make a very quick plan. Now, this is not going to require the effort that a teacher puts into making a lesson plan, which can take many hours, unfortunately. All it requires is for you to think of 3 to 5 things that you can do in sequential order with your child. This is going to help to keep your child engaged and content for that period of time. Okay, so one plan, for example, could be, I've got 4 children in front of me. They're all different age levels, and one or more of them have special needs. How am I going to keep them all engaged? Here's what that plan could be like. Play outside, step 1. Step 2, play inside. Step 3, have a snack. Step 4, watch a movie on Netflix. Step 5, eat dinner together. Now, that is something that you can come up with in 60 seconds. Okay? This is a good plan to have, right? Because it keeps your child engaged. It helps your child to know that I'm not being ignored. Okay, the child is being considered and included in whatever the happenings are for the afternoon. And your child is not going to feel the need to irritate you, annoy you, and try to beg for your attention. All right. And I know that that can be a big deal for a lot of parents. So make a quick plan. All right. So one of the things you need to do whilst you make that plan is take the burden off of yourself and get your child or your children involved in executing that plan. One way to do that would be go send them to pick up the toys, to find the coloring book for the activity that you've decided to do in a split second, or to call all your siblings together so we can go and play outside. Why should you get your children involved? Because when they are a part of making an event happen, they are going to contribute to the day's success. They're more likely to work together, to work with you rather than against you, because they want it to be a success too. All right. So get your child involved in executing that quick plan that you've just made. All right. Another thing that you can do is to give rewards. Now, this reward tip falls under the gift category of the love languages. Okay, some children really love to receive things. Other children, they don't mind. All right, but it's good for a way to help them to gauge their behavior and to recognize, how do I need to act right now? What do I need to work on? What did I do right? What do I need to improve on for next time? So one way to give rewards is to use a sticker card. Not everybody is able to go shopping and buy fantastic toys all the time, but you don't need to do that. All you need to do is give them a small token. It can be a strip of cartridge paper that you cut up and you buy affordable stickers at the pharmacy. Some of them are 200 Jamaican dollars for a package. And if you're not able to do that for whatever reason, you can also do a virtual sticker card. And let me show you what one of those looks like. This virtual sticker card was made on canva.com. Okay? And each color for each star means something different. So if a student did really well that day, you get a gold star. If it was their birthday, they have gotten a birthday sticker. If they did good work that day, but they were not following instructions, they get a blue star. And they know that tomorrow I need to work on it so that I can get a gold star. And so on and so forth. Now, why should I do this reward thing? It helps you to give attention to good behavior. If you give attention to bad behavior and say things like, I don't like when you do this, they will keep doing that thing because they're getting your attention. And your children crave your attention. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter how old they are or what abilities they do or do not have. All children crave the attention of their parents desperately, even up into, teenage years. Even if they don't show it or say it, they do want your attention. So I would encourage you to use a reward system to acknowledge good behavior. All right. So, wow, you did such a great job today at school, or thank you so much for helping me. You were so kind to your brother today. I'm going to give you a sticker on your sticker card. And when there is bad behavior, you're going to say something like, oh my goodness, you just did so and we talked about it. We're not supposed to do that. So I can't give you a sticker card today. So that they recognize that there's an agreement that they need to keep in order to receive something that they were hoping to receive. So that is going to build a culture of practicing accountability to one another. So give rewards. All right. So another question you all had was, how can parents help their children's mental health as well as their own mental health? All right, this is a grand challenge that everybody is facing because of COVID, okay? But it can be overcome by scheduling in quality time and using that quality time to be playful. So quality time is one of those love languages that you can speak to all of your children. And adults really do crave it too. So why not schedule it into your your weekly routine. So your children see you primarily as the disciplinarians, right? They know that you're the ones in charge, but you are your child's first playmate, and they do want to spend time with you and hang out with you. So, pick a time that works for you, whether it's 30 minutes on a Wednesday afternoon, and you just hang out with them. You are going to laugh with them, watch whatever shows that they like, do things with them, communicate, read, and it will help to reduce stress levels because there's no agenda here. There's no time crunch. There's no we have to get out the door right now. There's no Zoom meeting happening. Take time to be playful with your children. All right. And it will help to reduce stress levels. You will find yourself laughing and maybe even rolling on the floor, and you will feel a lot better. So make time to be playful with your children. All right. So in that quality time, I would also say engage in actual conversation with your child. Okay. A lot of parents don't recognize that what your child can do now is very important. I heard a father say once, "Oh, I don't have time for this and that." And he was referring to playing with toys with his children, and they were small. And that's not quite the right approach. And what I would recommend is for ages 10 and down, if you have children ages 10 and down, listen to what your child wants to come and tell you. They will run up to you and start saying things. And maybe sometimes they speak so fast you can't understand what they're saying, but just listen, okay? Pay attention. And what they're doing right now is something called expressive language. Babies do it, they just make sounds, but they're trying to communicate with you. All right? And when they're producing expressive language, that's an opportunity for you to build a relationship with them and to cultivate trust and to, engender feelings of love and affection. So whether you have an infant or a 10-year-old or somebody in between those two ages, all right, it's important for you to take time to listen to what your child has to say and respond. If you have a teenager or a tween, it would be good for you to schedule in time each week to do fun things with them. So it's things that they like to do, okay? And I would recommend that you also schedule in, a short period of time for family, a group activity where you can talk freely, do things for fun, but I would discourage anybody from forcing them to attend, to force them to participate. Just make sure that whatever is happening, it's a fun thing that they look forward to. Another thing that we have to do for our own mental health and for your children's mental health is to be approachable. Now, that's a challenge when you have to work online. Children do come in unannounced, and it can be a grand interruption. However, what I would encourage you to do is to just mute your mic when your children come in, welcome them, right? Maybe with a hug and say, "What's up?" Look at them in the eyes and listen to what they have to say. And if you cannot address it right now, say, "Mommy or Daddy is in a meeting right now. I can talk to you after my meeting. It will finish in 1 hour." Okay? And when that 1 hour is finished, it's your responsibility to your child to keep your word, to drop what you're doing and have the discussion with them, and then deal with the issue at that time. No, that can be, well, that sounds like an easier said than done thing, but it really is up to you. You just have to press mute and do it. Okay? Because your job is a job, but you're always going to be a parent, right? Even after you're retired and you don't have that job anymore. So I would recommend that you put your children first. When you're working under stress for your own mental health, you need to set boundaries. So when it's break time, take the break. Don't be working up until 9 o'clock in the night on Zoom or whatever platform it is, night after night after night. Yes, sometimes you have to get things done, but don't make it a habit and don't make it a normal culture. When you're excessively stressed, step out of sight. So no child, no spouse, nobody can see you, and just take a deep breath. You might have to step into the backyard or lock the bathroom door and turn the pipe on and just take a breath, but get it done. And I'd also say avoid answering anybody, any questions, any phone calls, any emails, or any requests when you're angry. All right, take a minute first to calm down and come back down to earth before you do any sort of communication with anybody when you're feeling angry. Another thing you need to do for your own mental health is to take breaks from each other. Now, if we are all stuck at home or have limited movement available to us, how can we do this? What you can do is welcome calls from family members on WhatsApp or FaceTime and let your child do all the talking. You're on conference calls quite regularly, so they know how to do it too. They've been watching you. Okay? So let your child have conversations with cousins, with aunties, etc., and build relationships with somebody outside of you and your spouse, outside with people outside of your home. All right? I would recommend that a lot. Also, you as the parent need to do the same and connect with family members, with friends from a long time ago, and share what's going on with your life. It will help to reduce stress for you. Another thing you can do is make quiet time a part of your family routine for independent activities. So you might have a 30-minute block in the afternoon where everybody does something by themselves. Maybe everybody's in a different room or we're all in the same room, but nobody's having a conversation with anybody. You don't engage with your child at all, but everybody's still being supervised. So take that time to do an art project, to read, to listen to some music, to unplug and do something relaxing, but you still know everybody is safe and they're being monitored, etc. And but you're not actually engaging with your child at that time, because doing that continuously can really wear you out. So you need a break. Factor in some quiet time and make it a normal part of your weekly family routine and schedule. Now, if it's ever possible to run an errand without your children, take the opportunity. Do so. All right. You don't need children trailing behind you at the pharmacy and in the supermarket, nagging you for a snack or a candy bar. You don't need that all the time. You are an individual. You did exist before you had children. Your name wasn't always mommy so and daddy so and auntie so and so. You weren't always a grandma, you know. There is room for you to still just be Carol and just be Harold and just be, Andrew. There is room for you to just be an individual. So take that opportunity, set it up if you can, leave them with grandparents or an auntie when you need to do things on the road, if it's possible. If not possible, you need to start reaching out to friends and family, maybe friends who have children in the same age group that you can almost carpool with. So sometimes you take her kids, right? And you have a group of kids on your carpet doing activities while she goes to the pharmacy. Another time you will trade and she will have your kids. So we really have to have a community mindset, especially now that everything has gotten so virtual. So I would encourage you to don't be afraid, speak with a friend, someone you really trust, okay, a sibling, somebody like that, who you're totally comfortable with leaving your children with for an hour or two while you run errands as your individual self. Another thing you can, another query people had are, what are some basic strategies you can try at home in order to stimulate your child's development? Okay, so where developing dexterity is concerned, cutting paper is a good thing to do. It helps to develop motor skills, and you can use the bits and pieces afterwards to make a mosaic on a piece of paper as an art project and turn it into a bonding experience. Weaving activities are really good too. You just need paper and a hole punch. Punch things into a different shape every time and practice weaving. You can do it with them if they're very young, or you can let them do it by themselves. A tracing activity is something you can do too. It's very, very easy to make a colorful marker on a sheet of paper and a fun shape. You can draw the shape with pencil first and then just do the perforated lines following that shape and make it into a fun game. with the aim of staying on the train track. Play-Doh is also a good way to develop dexterity. You know, cutting and squeezing and molding Play-Doh helps to develop the small muscles in the hands and the fingers. And it's an opportunity for you to play with your children and to reduce some stress too. And if budget is an issue and you don't have Play-Doh currently, or you're not able to just go out and buy Play-Doh, you can go on YouTube and look for homemade Play-Doh recipes that should be very affordable to make. You probably have the ingredients at home for them already. Where developing intellect is concerned, show and tell is really good for that. It helps to build your child's observational skills and their descriptive skills. So with one of my students, I have a little teddy bear. His name is Mr. Ted. He sits on my desk. And I tell him all about Mr. Ted. I describe Mr. Ted's fur, his eyes, his bow tie, etc. And then my student will show me his dinosaur. And he will tell me what kind of dinosaur he is, what he eats, what color he is, how many spikes he has, how many horns he has, etc. And I ask him the questions: how many horns does he have? Does he eat grass or does he eat fruits, etc.? And soon your child will start to do it all by himself, all by herself. She will just say, here's my dolly. She is very pretty. She has long hair, or her dress is purple, without you having to prompt them, because you've been practicing with them and building those communication skills. Another thing you can do is to read together. Not every child likes to sit in your lap, but you can do virtual stories on YouTube and you watch them together and you talk about what happened in the story. Oh, why did she do that? What's going on? Do you think she should have made that decision? As the story progresses. And at the end of the story, you can ask things like, what do you think she should have done? Or what would be a good way to handle a problem like that? So that you're building your child's ability to assess and then to adjust their behavior, to consider what's going to happen after I do this thing. What are the consequences of my actions before I even do the action? So that is going to also help to develop your child's critical thinking skills. All right, and that's the end of my presentation. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Miss Brown. Thank you,
No
thank you,
problem.
thank you so, so much. And we are going to leave the questions for after all the presenters have finished.
No
And
problem.
I definitely know that there are some parents here online, some guardians online, and there's some persons viewing from Facebook. So if there are any questions that pop up there, I will be forwarding them to you live
Okay.
here. Awesome. So up next we have Miss Barclay, Tracy Ann Barclay, who hails from Jamaica. But she's definitely she is an occupational therapist and she is situated in New York, Queens, New York. So I'm going to turn over to her as she jumps into her presentation.
Good evening, everyone, and it is a pleasure to be here. I want to thank Joan Phillips Bennett for making this opportunity for this evening, and I congratulate and applaud all of the panelists this evening. I am honored to sit in front of you to discuss this very important topic of how do we continue to forge progress with our children during this pandemic and obviously thereafter when the pandemic is now in our rear view. So as stated before, I am a licensed occupational therapist. I am here in the state of New York, specifically New York City, Queens, and I am a practitioner in the New York City Department of Education, public schools. As an occupational therapist, I am licensed to work with the entire age span from newborn all the way to geriatric old age. But my specialty is pediatrics, school-based, and I work with students from as young as 4.5 years old to 8.5 years old for children with special needs, Down syndrome, autism spectrum disorder, emotional disturbance, intellectual disabilities, and other developmental delays. I thought what would be helpful is for me to jump right into what a therapy session looks like right now in this remote learning environment, because we learn from doing. And we've had to, as practitioners, had to reconfigure our practice and really not just only think out of the box, but actually perform out of the box, the square that we're all looking at and gazing right now through our cameras. So I'm going to share screen with a particular feature right now. I'm going to show you. All right, thank you. Okay, so I work with students, and my mantra is I work with I work with what the students present me. I don't treat the diagnosis, because when we do, we sort of pigeonhole ourselves with expectations, or we adjust the bar of performance because we assume based on the diagnosis or the clinical presentation that a child cannot do this. And I see students from an asset standpoint, not what they cannot do, but what they can do, provided the opportunity and the access. So in front of you right now, you're looking at a screen. And for our students, all children, when they are in school, they have to learn how to differentiate. They have to learn how to sort. They have to learn how to label. They have to learn how to identify objects, common objects. So what you have in front of you is just a regular stock photo. And I typed this into Google and I just said, find the hidden object. So if you want to take that down, you can. Find the hidden objects for children, right? And they have a ton of materials to choose from. And the reason why I did this is because when I'm in class or I'm in a session, I will say to the student, touch the hat, okay? Find the hat in the picture, or just touch the hat. And when I do that, I'm able, from my vantage point, because I'm looking at the student's face through the camera, I can see their eyes scanning. Okay, so I can make that determination if they're using their eye muscles correctly, or are they just randomly just targeting by taking their finger and just touching anything on the screen. I want to see how well they're attending to verbal commands. So if I say, touch the hat, are they processing the meaning of that directive? Also, I'm watching how they use their hands and how are they maneuvering it in space. All of this I'm able to capture just by watching them. And I'm able to, give cueing, such as I can tell them, I could give them a cue right here. You see the arrow. So that's a visual cue I can give the student. Do you see the yellow arrow? Where is the hat? Okay. And then I'm able to erase what I draw, right? Where are the scissors? This is these are the building block skills for how our children organize information. They have to be able to label, they have to be able to scan their environment, and they have to be able to make associations. If I hear the word scissors, I should know and be able to recognize this object, a pair of scissors, and locate the other item on the screen here. Now, this is not something that I'm expecting a student to master the first time, because I would introduce the task and give them a ton of assistance, because that way they feel more comfortable. I'm just pausing because I have background noise. I'm so sorry. I apologize for that. And so this is a great activity. Again, like I said, for us to be able to just have the student do something that is not as imposing. It doesn't appear that it's work. They don't realize that there's a therapeutic benefit from this activity, but there's a lot. Okay, so I'm going to clear screens and I'm going to stop share. And one thing I do inject in all of my sessions is, after having an activity where a student is looking at the screen or focused on a screen for 3 to 5 minutes, we take appropriate pauses. And that's to help their eyes to relax, because staring at these screens, whether it's phones, smart devices, tablets, iPads, smart boards, computers, laptops, we are really consuming a lot of radiation. And so we have to take those appropriate pauses and give our eyes a break. So I instruct them to do things such as massage the sides of your eyes, look away, look at something else, and then come back to it. This is what we all need to do, not just only as children, but we also need to do these things as adults. All right. So another, because I like show and tell, I believe in the premise of, the best way to teach something is to show someone what they can actually do. Okay. So for instance, I'm going to do a simple whiteboard activity. So I'm going to share screen and I'm going to bring up a whiteboard. Okay. And I must admit, working during the pandemic, I discovered new skills myself, because I had to learn to use a touchpad and not a stylus. So I actually I was able to mimic the challenges that our students face, because here it is that I'm using a foreign medium that I'm not used to using. So my expectation for my students was equally matched to what I needed to do to perform for them. I'm not used to using my touchpad and working through a camera. So the challenges that I experienced in real time, they were organic. And so what that meant for parents was, there was a sense of understanding and a sense in that we don't need to put additional pressure on our children because the first time they see it, they should ace it. No, we need to do constant repetition and constant positive reinforcement. I see that you're trying very hard, Tim. Good job. Keep working at it. Let's try this again. Okay. So for example, if I am working on fine motor skills, I want the student to just connect 2 dots. So here's a dot here. I'm so sorry. There it is, the troublesome touchpad skills that I said I would needed to work on. So the student will use their finger and isolate one digit, okay? To be able to isolate a digit, you have to have appropriate hand muscle control in order to hold and control the other digits of the hand and just point one solid digit. So I will give a cue to the parent. Hold the child's hand and guide them in order to make the straight line. Okay. And for me, I always reinforce perfection is not the answer. It's quality. It's about what does the child gain from trying and seeing the result. If they see a flaw, that's fine, because that's part of teaching. Understanding that you can self-correct, you can go back and you can edit. Okay. So if I'm going to do this exercise, I would do another one and I would change the color. Okay. And I'll have the student tell me, what color is this? Okay. This is a yellow line. Okay. And it goes from top to bottom. Okay. And we see the red line going from left to right. So now I am teaching concepts of directions, and I'm giving them understanding of different orientations in space. So like I said, the best way for me to advise parents is to actually show them the activity that we're doing. And there are tons of things that you can do. If you do not have a laptop, if you do not have a smart device, you can recreate this with simple paper and pencil, crayon, marker, any sort of writing tool on any surface. It doesn't even have to be paper. Everyone gets deliveries, they get boxes. Open up those boxes. A cereal box, after you finish using it, open it up. Inside is a clean space of cardboard to write on. If you get deliveries, I know I do, I hold on to those cartons and I write on them. If I get junk mail, those envelopes, I'm not going to shred them. I write on the envelope. It's a great way to repurpose what's around you in your space, and you don't have to just waste simple paper. Okay, so now I'm teaching color differentiation. I'm going to just clear this drawing and I'm going to start. Okay, I have red, I have yellow, I have green, I have blue, our primary colors, right? Red, yellow, green, blue, and I'm going to put orange here, okay? All right, and black. Okay, so now I can teach color. I can teach the student about recognizing their colors just like this. Very easy. Red, yellow, green, blue, orange, black. And I can ask the student, I want you to trace the yellow line. Trace means to go over it, okay? So what I expect, let me undo that dot. What I expect is to see the child try to cover the yellow line. Now, depending on the age of the student and the involvement in terms of their deficit or impairment, that then determines how much assistance is required from the parent. And to be honest with you, when you're working with students, as minimal verbal directives, and when I say minimal, meaning you don't want it to be conversational, you want concise, easy to understand and process verbal directives. So instead of saying, I want you to touch the green line and I want you to trace it and stay on the line, that's too much information. If I'm going to talk to a student, it will be put your finger on the dot and move straight down. I'm using my voice and inflection to give that child additional messaging in what they're supposed to do, straight down. Okay, so as an occupational therapist, I use what is called the therapeutic use of self because I don't have the ability to work hands-on with a student. So how I'm able to relay my information verbally is the only channel that I have. So you have to be creative. So I will ask my student, touch the blue line. Let's trace. You're getting too far. Come back, come back, come back. Good job. Good job. Stay, 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 stay. Stop. I'm using my verbal directives to reinforce where to go, bringing it back in, and how to terminate the activity. Now, obviously, I'm doing this on myself. This is not how children will perform, but I just wanted to give you a sample of what it appears like when you're working with students and you have the cooperation of the caregiver or parent. Okay, so I'm going to stop share my whiteboard for now. And I wanted to share another activity here. And just like what the Miss Brown shared before, YouTube is amazing in terms of all the different activities that are available to you. I like to describe it as YouTube University because it truly is like a school online. And I'm going to show you. When I go into YouTube, it's all about the keyword search. What are you looking for? So I typed in, and the name of this channel is called 100. It's called the Kiddos World TV. That's the name of the channel. And the name of the particular program is 100 Land Animal Flashcards. Now, I wouldn't play it straight. I will move it to the particular screens that I want the student to look at. So for my students who are older and I want to work on copying, this is what I do. For my students who are older and they're able to do handwriting skills, now what I do, I'm enlarging it to full screen so that you get a better view. So it just takes a second. I am now going to ask them to copy the names of the animals that they see. Now, first I can ask them, what animals do you see? To see if they recognize and can label correctly. If they say cat, okay, I want you to write the letters C-A-T. So this activity is excellent because they're labeling, they're putting the word cat to the picture of the cat. They're going to learn how to spell. And it's also a great way, again, to practice handwriting skills. Okay. And you're learning also the concept of land animals, right? Because land animals are different than marine animals, those that live in the water. So I use flashcards all the time for my students who are able to do actual copying skills, because it is better than me giving them just a worksheet. They see the animals, and with these are lifelike photos. These aren't animations. So this is exactly how the animals appear out here in the world. So it's wonderful. So I always recommend that our parents learn how to navigate what I call YouTube University when it comes to students' information. If you're looking for worksheets, if you're looking for demonstrations, you just type in the particular skill that you want to address, and you say for children, for toddlers, for high school, for elementary, for middle school, and you would be surprised someone has made some type of video or material that is suited for what you're searching for. Okay, so this is another example. My last example, I'm going to stop sharing here, is again from what I call YouTube University. A lot of my kids at home, they don't know how to put on their clothing. And it becomes a challenge for moms or dads, because the time that it takes to put their clothes on that they could be doing it themselves is actually spent on doing it for them. And as we know, we can't do things for our children forever. So, excuse me, I'm going to just share this last screen here. And it's a 3-minute video on ways how you practice getting dressed. Okay. And I'm just going to enlarge screen. You can always copy, feel free. You can always pull this up. The name of the actual video is right here on the front screen. And the channel is, the sponsoring channel is the Pediatric Therapy Network. This video was created by an occupational therapist to reinforce proper strategies on practicing how to get dressed. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward and I'm going to show you this clip. Okay, now the child is inserting his foot into what appears to be like just a hole, right? And the hole was formed by tying an old shirt together, like torn pieces, two pieces that you tied together, right? Let me play the video for you. Okay, that's the act of putting one foot into the pants leg and pulling it up to your waist. Simple, just like that. Okay, you can start off using shorts. You can start off, the simplest way as demonstrated in this video was taking an old shirt and just cutting them and making a ring out of it, right? So now it's like a belt. The young boy or girl, all they have to do is hold on to it and insert one leg at a time and pull it up to their waist. You are mimicking the act of putting on lower extremity clothing like shorts, yoga pants, leggings, obviously jeans, swim shorts. Anything that goes on your lower body is the same skill. Okay. And the best way to learn how to do it is by watching someone else model that behavior. I'm going to show you now how she teaches how to put on socks. So you can't really make it out because it's really small. A scrunchie, a little hair tie, or a rubber band. You teach your child to open that rubber band and pull it over the toes and up to the ankles. Now you have taught the concept of putting on socks, just like that. And it's not daunting. It actually becomes fun because when they see you do it and they imitate it, they enjoy it. So they get the automatic reward. So I figured these were some tangible examples of how you can use useful media such as online video tools that come from YouTube, or you can just type into the Google search engine for free worksheets that you can download, or you can use your imagination and actually draft up these ideas of things that you can do by just sitting back and taking a moment and saying, if I don't have paper, but I have cardboard, if I have chalk, and I have, like a ground surface, I could still get handwriting practice in. So everything doesn't have to follow the traditional route of, table, paper, and pencil. You can use other medium and other things that are around you and still have the same therapeutic benefit. So I'm going to stop share for now. Ladies and gentlemen, if there's anyone in the audience, I really appreciate the opportunity to present in front of you this evening. And I hope you found my segment as informative as I hope it is for you. And if you have any questions, I know I will receive them from Joan to respond. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Barkley. Yes, awesome. And as you mentioned, I will forward the questions to you. All right. So I know, Miss Barkley, you may have to jump off in a few, but we'll keep the dialogue going. And let us jump to our next presenter, who is Miss Archibald. Miss Archibald is a student at the Micah University College, and we are colleagues in special education, but she has been a special educator for quite a number of years. Um, Miss Archibald, are you on? Yes. All right. So she has been a special educator for quite some time, and I've always admired her little tricks and trades, as we would say. I can see a facial expression. All right. So we're going to jump to her. And as I said, if you all have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat, message me, and we will definitely have a Q&A going afterwards, after all the presentation. So I'm going to turn over to Miss Archibald, and I am going to have her speak and present. Muted, Miss Archibald. Would you like me to share screen in the meantime? But you're muted though. Mm. All right, there we go. Awesome, awesome.
Joan, I was saying I'm waiting on you to unmute me because I'm unable to.
Oh, okay, no problem. My apologies.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. As Joan said, my name is Jacqueline Archibald, and I'm your last presenter, okay? And I'll be presenting on the importance of collaboration, right? I know there are parents on here. There are also teachers on here on the platform right now. And as you all know, we're going through a pandemic. So I want to look at some of the ways in which we can keep the collaboration going so it can benefit our children. I'm just going to go right ahead into the presentation. Don't remember? Okay. So what is collaboration? Collaboration is the process of working together to achieve a common goal, right? And in teaching, the common goal is always to improve the learner's outcome. And the learner will be the student in front of us. Another definition is collaboration is the ability to share ideas and thoughts openly alongside another person and to come up with a combined answer or response or even a solution for a particular topic or issue, whatever it is that is on the table, as long as we come together, communicate, because we can't have collaboration without communication. All right. To have collaboration, we have to have communication. We have to make some compromise. That's the only way it's going to be effective. All right. How collaboration benefits students. It's important to know that collaboration includes the home and the school. So when there's collaboration between the parents and the teachers, of course, we're going to see the students having a more positive attitude towards school and homework, because whatever is done at school will be reinforced at home. That in turn will increase the child's self-esteem. All right? It will also enhance a sense of responsibility for learning. The child will show an interest in whatever is happening at school because he's getting that support from home and he's getting that support also from school. Improve behavior. I can speak from experience that it is hard for teachers alone to work on a behavior problem in the classroom. So when teachers and parents come together and collaborate, there are ideas on the table and how to approach that behavior and how it can be curbed. The next point is better school attendance. Now we're online, we're using an online platform. And I know from experience again, most of my students and parents are unable to come on the online platform for classes because of various reasons. But through collaboration, we're able to work something out. So therefore, in the end, I'm able to see my students on the platform benefiting from the teaching and learning process. So collaboration is very important. How it benefits parents. When parents and teachers collaborate, it improves the parents' ability to support their children's learning. Parents are aware of what is happening in the classroom. They're aware of what is happening in the school. They are aware of what their children are doing, so they're able to work and support their children. All right. The next one is that learning is reinforced at home. And this kind of tie with the first point that I make. Because as I said, when the parents are aware of what is happening at school, they're able to reinforce at home. They make sure that when Johnny comes home, his homework is done. If there's any project, he's able to do it because they have an understanding of what is happening. So there's this communication going on. Parents also has, they see the school differently. There's an increased satisfaction with the school because they feel as if they're a part of the school. They don't feel left out as if they're on the side burner, right? Because they with collaboration, they're able to know what is happening. They're in the loop, they're in the know, because teachers are communicating what is happening. They feel as if they're a part and they are contributing to their children's welfare. And that helps to improve the collaboration process for parents. Teachers, I know there are some teachers on the platform. And when parents, I'm speaking for myself, as a teacher, when I'm able to collaborate and communicate with my parents, I see an improvement in the parent-teacher relationship. Parents feel, they feel as if I am listening to them. They feel as if what they're saying is what they're saying. I'm taking note and I'm paying attention and I'm listening. Right? They feel as if they're a part of the process of what is happening. They feel as if they're involved in their child's education. So therefore, the teacher work is a bit easier, right? Because the parent is on board. And because the parent is on board, is a strong support from the parents, so we're able to work together. As teachers, sometimes I know we have a lot going on during the day, but how can we as teachers improve our collaboration with our parents? First and foremost, we have to be kind. And I'm not saying teachers are not kind, because teachers are some of the kindest people that I know. But I'm saying being kind in the way that we are approachable. Parents can come to us and they feel comfortable talking to us, right? And next one said, listen, we'll listen, not just hear, but we'll listen to what they're saying. Pay attention, also listen to what they're saying, all right? Not judge their decisions. Parents are sharing with us some of the time the most precious things they have, which is their children, right? And it's important that we make them feel welcome and we're listening so we can work with them. Acknowledge the child's strengths and positive qualities while addressing areas in which they need additional support. And I can relate to this. I know a couple of years ago, I had a parent, and at one stage she was afraid to answer her phone because she said, Miss, whenever the phone call, I know it's somebody else. I don't always hear anything good about my child, right? So sometimes as teachers, yes, the behavior problem is there, but sometimes parents want some good news first. So what I always do, what I try to do most of the time, because we're human and sometimes we do not always get it right, I try my best to start out with something positive about the child. Right? Say something positive. I know John is doing very well. I got him to finish writing from the board. He was able to put away his garbage and things like that. And then I will just slide in the thing that I want parents to help me work on. So that kind of help to build the parent-teacher communication, and we're able to communicate. The next one is use terms that all parents understand and explain those that could be confusing. In special education, we have different terms that we use. Sometimes our parents are not aware of the terms that we use, they don't know what it means. So it's good for us to explain what we're doing. If we're doing their IIP, which is their individual intervention plan, we explain what that is. If we're doing some modifications, or we explain that what it is. Just as if we go to the doctor and the doctor use some terms that we don't understand, we want the doctor to explain it so we can understand. The same thing for parents, all right? And the last one I have is to be careful with giving advice. Sometimes we have to understand that parents maybe are going through their own things. So we have to be careful with what we say to them when they come to us. Sometimes giving advice will start off by saying, you should, right? Or if I were you. And sometimes that's not what the parents wants to hear. So it's good to offer information, right, from different sources, and give the parents some information that to build their knowledge so they can be able to make some decisions. And then while they're making their decisions, we provide the support to guide them. And that will help to build the collaboration between the teachers and the parents. I've seen it work, so I know it can. All right, this one is about the parents. I know there are some parents on here. As parents, how can you collaborate with your teachers more effectively? I know we're on an online platform now, and it's hard for some parents. Exercise your right to participate in your child learning. It's your child, right? You are the first important person in your child's life, and I know your child's education matters to you. So exercise that right to participate. Ask what is happening. Ask how you can be involved to know what is happening, so you can help your child, especially if you have a child with special need. And communicate effectively. Say what you want to say and communicate it so we can understand what is happening. All right. The next one is try to understand the teacher's goal and expectation for your child. And I know, speaking again from experience, I know this is a for parents, because I remember at one point I was doing an IIP for a student, and the goal that I wanted for the child was not what the parent wanted for her child at that time. So we have to come into the middle ground and work it out. So, you know, we meet each other halfway. So I understand the parent goal, and the parent also understand my goal presently. And so we're able to work that out. And I realized that it turned out okay, because we're able to reach a point where we came to a decision that was best for the child at that time. Respectful, and this goes for both parents and teachers. Be respectful. Respect goes a long way. And parents, work with the school. Work with the school. I don't think there's no school out there that wants to harm your child or want the worst for your child. As teachers, we want the best for the best for your children. When I have a child that excel, it's a good feeling. So we want that. So work with the policies that the schools have in place for your children. All right. Last one, don't micromanage the teacher. Sometimes as parents, sometimes based on discussions and in the heat of the moment, we might say things that we don't want to say, but because we're human, we'll say that. So just understand that teacher and the parent need to work together in the best interest of the child, and that's what we're here for. And as parents, we know these things already, So this is just a refresher on what we can do in this COVID time. All right, next one. And as we're winding down, remember, collaboration and understanding children with special needs is important when it comes to curbing behavior. And I've seen this where if the teacher is working on the behavior at home, at school, it is good when the parent is working on that same behavior at home. All right? So it's good when both parties come together to work on that behavior, realize that it's something that can be achieved. For teachers to work with students to succeed, it requires collaboration and constant communication. Constant communication. We have to communicate. We have to communicate, and we have to communicate in order to get to where we want to go as a family. Thriving collaborative processes will not magically eliminate a child's disability or dissolve any potential conflict, but they can provide a strong foundation for the people who care about the child the most to build a relationship that will nurture success. And we talk about the people, we're talking about all the different stakeholders at home. It could be the occupational therapy, the physiotherapy, right? It could be the speech therapy, the behavioral therapies, the special educator. When everybody works together, come together as a team, it is working towards the best interest of the child. And that's what we want as parents and as teachers. And we must always remember that for collaboration to be effective, as I said, there must be respect, there must be communication, right? We must have a common goal. What is it that we want to achieve? There must be commitment. You have to be committed to do it. It doesn't happen overnight, right? And you have to put time, you have to invest your time into it, right? And collaboration gives you the freedom to explore things that is there that you want to achieve and you want to do, right? And remember that special education collaboration may not make a visible difference overnight. However, if all parties, including the students and parents, are on board to share ideas and strategies, then the student could be on the road to a successful education. And remember, we're in a pandemic, so we need to work together and collaborate in order to meet the needs of our most precious gift, which is our children. All right. Thank you. That was the end of my presentation. I said it would be brief, and it was.
Yes, it was. Wow. All right. Thank you so much. And I love the whole aspect of us collaborating with each other because as stakeholders, of course, when we hear stakeholders, um it's not just the teachers, but also the parents, everybody who's involved in this whole educational journey, so to speak. So thank you so much, Miss Archibald. Thank you so much. I know Miss Barkley had to jump off, but we have Miss Brown and Miss Archibald still here. And as I allow them, here we go. Yes. Miss Brown know that I was going to add her, so she just turned on our camera same time. Thank you.
Yes.
So I want to open the floor for question and answers. And also I want to throw out this question to our panelists. In this pandemic, there are many parents who have lost jobs and may not have the means to get a certain degree of help in terms of, getting a therapy session or getting their child in certain classes and so forth. What are some tips that you think, or even some advice for those parents who are really struggling in this pandemic now? I'm throwing it out to both of you.
Okay. I have a few ideas. Miss Archibald, would you like to say something first though? Oh, you're muted. So should I go ahead? Okay, I'll go ahead. All right. So I think the first thing you need to do as a parent is to get as much information as you can as possible. Information. It's just like doctors spend lots of time studying so that they can treat an issue. You need to spend a lot of time reading, online, watching videos, talking to other parents who have children who have a similar um, disability as your child or your children. Get advice from parents who now have adult children, they've been through it, and all of that is free. It's not going to cost you anything. Get connected to a community, an association, a school that may know teachers, that may know other people who have the resources, that sort of a thing, who have a network of people who can give you advice. You can just call the office, can I speak to so and so? And you can have a quick conversation with them, get a recommendation for how to deal with this behavioral element, maybe which specialist to speak to down the road when you do get a job again, because you will,
Yeah.
because there's a time for everything and a season for everything under the sun. You will not be unemployed forever. At some point it's going to change, so use that downtime to get as much information as you can. And I would also suggest that you use the downtime to connect with family and friends. So you have a network of people that you feel comfortable talking with them about what the issues are you're having individually, and then with your kids and that sort of thing. So family knows what's going on, so they can come in and help. They can step in and give a hand, so you can get a break, because it's hard, it's draining. You're not just you're caring for some people, for somebody, yes, but you're caring for somebody who has special needs. It's not just a label. They need something other than the regular set of needs. You have the regular needs, and then you have additional needs on top of it. So you're going to need an arsenal of tools and a network of people to approach these issues in a healthy way. So that's what those are the things I would recommend.
Totally agree with you, Miss Brown. Yes, build on families and friends, and even your child's teacher. Again,
Mm-hmm.
collaboration comes into play again, right? And communicate, because no man is an island. We need help.
Yes.
It's not easy raising a child with special needs. It's not easy. We need all the help we can get. Yes, not having a job is a big problem, but at the end of the day, you still have your child who is depending on you, right?
Right.
And having a child with special needs takes a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can get support from all the different persons or different places, join organization that has to do with disability that your child has, and be in the know.
Mm-hmm. And another thing I would say is don't be afraid to ask for help. My sister comes to me all the time and says, "Can you wash my dishes, please?" And sometimes I just look at her and go, "Are you serious?" But I get up and I wash the dishes anyway. But it took her many months to say it frankly, "Can you please wash my dishes?" And not feel like, she's gonna owe me something after. Select the right people to ask help from, right? Number one, but ask for help. Ask for help. Make sure you ask, because nobody can read your mind, but they can see the stress lines. All right? Ask for help.
Yeah.
So true, so true. And I love how you mentioned that, you know, you are close to her and she may feel like she's really overstepping her boundary, So it's really important to have that support system and to know
Mm-hmm.
the persons who you can turn to. And for those who may consider themselves not having a strong support, because, everybody's circumstance is different. But
Yes.
for those who may think they don't have support, there are groups that you can reach out to. There are ways and means of getting support. So
Yes.
depending on what special need your child has, you can reach out to the association that is affiliated with that need, or you can even reach out to even the Ministry of Education, the special education unit, and they will always have tons of resources that you can you know pull from. So definitely support is key, because it is not easy. Not easy. I can tell you from parents' perspective as well as educator perspective, it is not easy. Uh the motto that I think is suitable for it is, it's challenging but not impossible. Not impossible at all. Um just going to throw out this next question. And remember, if you have any other questions, throw it out in the chat. I'm looking on Facebook. I see persons watching, but no questions coming in as yet. Um, and remember, there's a link posted in the chat as well that you can put your contact information, so that we can let you know when the next webinar will be hosted. All right. So our next question here is specific to teachers. So with the world gradually opening up, we know that social distancing is still in effect. And with that said, we know that there are s- a lot of our schools, with the decrease in the amount of children who are allowed in the classroom for a special needs situation in terms of the students. and knowing that there seem to be more students than classes or schools available at the moment, a long waiting list for even assessments happening here in our country. What are some tips for teachers, sorry, in terms of having the decreased number of persons, which means there may be extended, I guess, school year. I don't even know what they're going to do what the government is planning on putting in, but of course that's a dialogue that needs to be had between amongst all stakeholders. What are some things that teachers can take into consideration for this? Because I know that's going to be a challenge.
Joan, a question is about teachers. Where to answer it? Want
Oh,
somebody, want your teachers to answer that one.
it's going it because to me it's going to be a serious situation, because I've seen with the general classroom system where they're doing shifts, when
Right.
they were trying to push out that from before, but because of the pandemic we're now back into that whole means. But
Mm-hmm.
special education classrooms and schools were not really operating on shifts, so to speak, but there are not a lot of classes. Oh my lord.
Well,
Because go
maybe
ahead.
that's something that people could implement now. Shift system is associated with traditional high schools,
Hmm.
right? But maybe we should try doing a shift system for special needs classrooms. So they still get to come to school, they still see people in person, they still have conversations in person, but it's just in smaller groups. Another thing that people could try to do is have more classes outside. So, you have a 10 by 10 tent outside, and we're having class outside. So we're in the fresh air, and we're under the trees. So you're having more ventilation, and it's better for the children anyway. It's fresh air. Something else they could probably try
Definitely.
is when you do have to do online, you have some people at school, but then the computer is on, and some people are at home. So everybody's getting the same information that day, but some people are just at home and some are at school. And maybe you rotate. This week I'm at home, next week I'm at school, something like that. So you're getting the same class, but you're just not physically present. Maybe those three things you could try.
Yes, I like those ideas, especially the second one where you get some fresh air. You teach outside too. We have
Yeah.
everything going just the same. Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Um,
Just a
go
point
ahead.
to put in to what Emily said. Totally agree. Because right now I believe, and this is my experience, the students that I have now, they're not benefiting from the online classes. And it depends on the disability that the child has.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, seeing them face to face is a better option compared to the online. I'm just saying, I'm just putting that there.
Yes, yes. And I'm glad you touched on that because it's important, especially with the need of the child, to know exactly what is the most effective way to get them to function, though, based on our goals for them. Thank you. Definitely. Final question in terms of mental health. It has been a long year. So, in terms of mental health, I know Emily had touched on a few things. If you have any pointers, even Miss Archibald, if you have any pointers in terms of mental health for parents, teachers, during this time.
Oh. As a parent for that child, wow, I know as parents, and when we do have a child with disability, sometimes we want to, let me choose my word carefully. We want to do everything for that child. And know that the child is at home, we want to do everything. So I'm just saying as parents sometimes, I mean, it will be. I mean, you'll be surprised to see what the child can do if you give that child a chance, right? So to maintain your sanity and to take care of self-love, self-care, while you're there, while you're taking care of yourself, try to teach your child and guide your child to be able to do some things for him or herself. All right, teach your child to be as independent as possible. Don't say, oh, he or she cannot do that because of this. Give them the chance to do it. And at first, I'm sure they won't get it right. But again, even we who claim that we're normal, sometimes we do things for the first time, we don't get it right. But again, with practice and patience and love and praise, they'll get there. And as parents, sometimes make a big deal, laugh with our kids. When they do something right, make a big deal, create excitement, do whatever you want. That will make you laugh. You put a smile on your face, it make you feel alive, and it will pump the blood more to your heart or something like that. So work with our children, enjoy them while we have them at home now, and make the best out of what we have because we're in a pandemic. Life is short. We don't know what is going to happen. So find things that will bring a smile to your face, bring a smile to your children's face. Lessen the tension, lessen the work, and you'll be surprised. Just trial and error. Try and see what we can do.
And definitely, I know that one of the future webinars that we'll have is specific to mental health because I think it's something that's very important to discuss. But also to the parents, too. I know we have some students online from the MICO. Welcome. We have persons from Chapel of Christ our Redeemer AME. Welcome. Thank you, Chapel family. And some other teachers and persons from Stimulation Plus as well. Um, I just want to say it's important to take breaks. So just as our presenters mentioned that play is very important, play is just as Emily mentioned that it's play for the child but a hobby for the adults. Take a break. Your child needs a break and you need a break. So even if you share that break together, there are various ways, but always remember you just like our presenter said, you don't want to push the child too much and tax them so much, but work on, making it nice and balanced. It's not perfect. And of course, things happen, life happens, but always try to take a break. As students, we have to take a break. As parents, we have to take a break. As everything, even Jesus took a break. Even God took a break. So, just practice, you know, taking it a day at a time, a day
Mm.
at a time. And that will definitely help with mental health. And as Miss Barkley mentioned in her segment, that when we are here in the pandemic, the computers do affect us with the radiation. So take a break from the computers too. Step away, do the massage, close your eyes for a bit because headaches are on the rise now. And we know why.
Yes.
So definitely, definitely. Thank you, Oliver. So as we wrap up, do you have anything final to say to our participants? And we will open the floor for our participants to address the presenters as well. And I want to say as well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time, ladies. Miss Brown, Miss Archibald, Miss Barkley in our absence, because I know this video is going to be made available on Facebook. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing your knowledge with us. We truly appreciate your time. All right.
You're welcome.
We're gonna open the
My pleasure.
floor to persons to share quickly before we wrap up.